This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy BlakMagus, and topic of this video is Bernie Sanders. Haven't done any political talk in a while on this channel, and I felt like I need to get back to doing these Black Thought videos about social and political stuff. Been really busy working on my final projects for school. Done with that. Only got my last exam to take, and then I'm good. I'm out for this semester and on to the next one. Anyway, it is what it is when you're trying to get a business degree. Anyway, so Bernie Sanders has decided to run again, which we pretty much all knew. Like, if you didn't know, come on. The writing was always on the wall. Just, look at the way Bernie talks, period. Pay attention to certain actions he takes, such as his tweets. His tweets telegraphed it. The fact that he has continually insisted over the last few years to have his own rebuttal to the State of the Union address, even though there's an official Democratic Party. Mind you, he's not a Democrat. He's an independent. He's an independent who caucuses with the Democrats and who runs as a Democrat in order to be available on all primaries. That's something that you have to keep in mind, and please keep that in mind as I continue this video. It'll come back around. But for the most part, he is a Democrat. He just, he's an independent who utilizes the Democratic Party's facilities, shall we say. And he's done a good job of it, because it's raised his stature, especially since the 2016 election. Bernie Sanders has become a darling. It's funny because he wasn't all that dynamic of a figure beforehand, and he's become this really influential standout personality in politics. For the record, I think Bernie's cool. I like some of his ideas. I like his passion. I said this during the election to people who screamed and hollered when he didn't win the nomination for the Democratic Party, is that part of the problem with Bernie is that while he has good ideas, he's questionable on how he's going to execute them. And if you look over his record, he's always been able to come up with a lot of ideas. He's come up with hundreds and hundreds of proposals while in Congress. And out of that time, he's only gotten, I think they said 7 of those approved. 7 of his ideas have been influential enough to get brought on board. That's the thing. And I think part of the problem is what I saw during his whole campaign in 2016 is that his ideas don't come with proper execution. He's that guy who he's that guy who can come up with a great idea for a song, but he's not going to write the lyrics for you. It's going to take someone else to write the lyrics and to orchestrate the melody, but he just knows he wants to make a song about, cars or whatever the subject is. It's like, that sounds like that's a cool idea, but how are we going to do it? And he was like, we'll figure that out. Because I remember that interview when they asked him specifically about using donations from sources that he didn't agree with, like the donations from sources that the Democratic Party get that he finds questionable. He didn't like private donations. He wanted from business and industries. He wanted people to support his campaign and his funding. And when they asked him, well, if you become the Democratic nominee, that money's available to you. Are you going to use it? And he kind of like hesitated, was like, well, we'll get to that when we get there. It's like, no, you need to answer that, because you've made this hard stance, you know, on using funds that come presidential campaign. You may need to draw on some of that to compete. And he just had, you know, no answer for whether or not he would actually dive into that. And it's like, okay, see, that's the thing. I get your philosophies. I understand, you know, why you don't want to do it. But pragmatism isn't something that he displays to me. Because pragmatically thinking, you know what? That money is fucked, but in the situation that we were in, especially with Donald Trump as the opposition, it would behoove him to use the resources he can to try to, like, you know, compete and keep this guy out of office. That's just me. It's like, I will sacrifice a little personal, you know, morality for the greater good. I will bend, you know, my opinion if I think someone else's carries, you know, something that would be beneficial to the whole, not just to what I believe. You know what I mean? Himself as that type of person. You know, and that was always the scary thing about him to me. Now, fast forward to now, where he's going to jump into the 2020 campaign, and I think at this point he's done all he can for the Democratic Party. I think, like, while I have my issues with him, what I think that he did was he jump-started a spirit of people who are being more progressive and more open about their progressive ideas. Again, some of them need to have their stuff tempered a bit with some pragmatism, but the overall push for a lot of these things, like, you know, universal health care and better living wages for all and things like that, those are important issues. You know, the education thing, establishing some type of system where education is cheaper, if not free. Those are interesting ideas. He's brought them to the table, and it made them a part of the conversation. And there are people out there who are willing to, like, actually push for it. You know, more so than ever. That's good. We need stuff like that, because the world needs to adapt. Things need to adjust. We need to, like, as a country, be more competitive. You know, and things like that could help by, you know, better educating people, making sure that, you know, the workforce stays healthy with affordable health care, you know, maintaining that. All the stuff, living wages. People, you know, you want the economy to boom. People need to have money to be able to survive and to spend it on things for the economy to boom, you know. So you have to balance that out, you know, things like that. So yeah, no, he sparked a trend that I think has healthy merits to it. The thing is, he's not the guy to carry that in. I think at this point, Bernie Sanders is a politician. It's funny because as progressive as ideas are, I think that he's also kind of a politician that's kind of like the old guard, stuck in their ways, and may not be that necessarily able to adapt, because again, he doesn't show much pragmatism to me. Like, I know a lot of people say about you know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, like, she's kind of like a hell-bent, quote-unquote, socialist Democrat, or socialist. They just say she's the outright socialist. But I feel like she's at a point where she can grow, and like some of the more hard-edged things that she, like, you know, brings to the table, I think she has some bend in her. I don't think Bernie has much bend, so that worries me about him. That makes him an easy target, because he's just going to be hammered with this socialist thing, and the fact that he has, you know, no, he doesn't seem to have bend in him to me. He may do, and please feel free to correct me. That worries me about him. But the thing that worries me the most is that his followers, the people who bought in on the Bernie agenda so much last time that they decided we're not going to vote because he's not there, because we want the all or nothing like him. You know, we're not going to back down on not getting exactly what we want, no matter what the cost. That worries me. I hate that fucking type of mentality. Like, I get it. We all want what we want. But at times you have to understand that, you know, you got to give a little to get a little. And you got to, like, be willing to, like, back down on certain things and balance it out. Because it's not all about you and what you want. But I feel like that's the kind of, you know, atmosphere that Bernie has developed. So I feel like he's going to bring that wedge back with the voters. That worries me because you have a very unique field of, you know, candidates. Some who, you know, come from his backyard, like Elizabeth Warren, being in the Northeast and things like that, that he can kind of divide people on because they're trying to back him. You have a lot of people who believe in a lot of the ideas that he do, but they aren't as hardcore as he is. Like a person like Klobuchar, Amy Klobuchar, when she did her town hall, she was extremely pragmatic in the whole thing. She will lose in the minds of Bernie supporters because she's very pragmatic. Because she's openly shown that she's willing to, you know, listen to the other side of the argument. And I don't think like a lot of Bernie supporters are willing to do that to support her. So he'll kill her chances. You know, not saying that she's the one, but anybody who's not hardcore may get killed off because he's going to take a certain percentage of the vote. I don't think he's going to take enough of the vote to matter. He didn't take enough of the vote to matter last time. I think a lot of people forget that he was not really that close to beating Hillary. Hillary kind of smashed him in the primaries, to be quite honest, in a lot of places. You know, he had his base, but yeah, Hillary kind of carried it. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, was the Democratic Party manipulating it? No, I think the rules did play against him because there were, you know, he had to join the Democratic Party. He couldn't run as an independent, and independents couldn't vote in the primary in certain states. So I will say definitely that kind of hurt him. Mind you, there's not enough registered independents to carry him to that victory. I don't think so. There is that. But at the same time, you know, that did hurt him. That being said, he still didn't like win. It wasn't a It wasn't the party saying Hillary's it. People actually voted for Hillary, believe it or not. A bunch of people hate the thing, and then it's like once that happened, the people who voted for him, they just quit on the, you know. They quit on the like process, and that was hurting because Trump was able to rally his base enough to push himself over the top in certain areas. Whereas I gotta think, had a lot of those Bernie supporters in those areas showed up, Hillary would be president. Which I know she's just as bad. She's not. But look at what we have now. Like seriously, that whole Hillary's just as bad thing was so stupid. It was predicated on the fact that they did not, like for some, and let's be honest, for some of the Bernie supporters, be totally honest, some of y'all just didn't want a woman in office, so y'all weren't gonna have it. But the rest of y'all who were hardcore Bernie followers, it was just so pissy that you became childish and you didn't look at the bigger picture. Even though Bernie said, yo, probably should look at the bigger picture and vote for Hillary, because yeah, I'm fucked up that I didn't win, but it'll be extra fucked up if this guy wins, so. You know, hey, and people didn't follow suit. and now look where we're at. And he can possibly bring that divide and that wedge, especially since, like I said, you have a diverse field of people who they generally agree, and it seems like the rest of the field is just basically all about, yo, we're just trying to get Trump up out of here. We all work together. We all understand each other's policies. Even if we disagree, the main focus is we just want to get this motherfucker out of here. And I think Bernie is more about, I just want to get in there so I can do my thing. I don't think that he's running for the, I think he's running for the benefit of the country, but for a personal reason, and not for, I just need to make sure that Trump don't win. I don't know. I just have that sense about him. And again, that can be very, very divisive. Because he carries a lot of emotional weight, and a lot of people are sore still that he didn't win, and they may hold that soreness. You may see like there'll be a less turnout even during the primaries and stuff, because people are going to be, even though he's running, they're going to be like, well, they're not going to let him win anyway, so why am I going to bother? And it's just going to worsen the thing. Again, I don't think he's a bad candidate, but he may like polarize the Democratic Party so much that we may end up with another 4 years of Donald Trump, and that's worrisome. I hope people have learned their lessons from last time, but I just fear that his presence is going to just stoke those same fires that led to what we got now. And that's my only real issue with Bernie. Like, again, I don't think he's bad. I think like what I don't like about him is worrisome. But I also said this, I believe that if he would have got in, hopefully he would have been smart enough to surround himself with people who were influential on him, to make sure that he doesn't kind of like, I guess, quote unquote, be himself. Because truth be told, his way of doing things is the all or nothing thing, is sort of akin to what you have now. The only difference is his all or nothing had more benefit to people as a whole. It wasn't thought out well and planned all the way out, but there was a lot of good intent in what he did. Whereas with what we got now, it's like, yeah, no, this is solely and strictly for the benefit of one particular group only. Because even though things like living wages is a super liberal thing, it was going to go to everybody. Even though free healthcare is a super liberal thing, it was going to go to everybody. He wasn't just going to limit it to certain classes, whereas, the tax cut that Trump did, that was for a particular class. The whole immigration thing and the wall thing, that is targeting specific groups, and things like that. So, yeah, but we'll see. Hopefully, he won't be as disruptive as he was last time. Fingers crossed, like, somebody steps up and shows himself to be universally well-liked, even by people that support Bernie enough to where they won't just fall apart. Although I don't think we have that this year. I think we have, again, a very unique, diverse class of Democratic candidates that are generally likable. That was one of the problems. Hillary was just not a very likable figure at all, so that didn't help. Hillary has her own cross to bear and her whole defeat as well. But yeah, hopefully the Bernie effect won't hit anybody else. Anyway, as always, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. It's your boy Blak Megas, and I'm out. Deuces.